Welcome back to Imperfect Company. Thanks for listening. I'm Leigh Jasper.
And I'm Sam Kroonenburg. Today we're going to talk about all things AI.
Lots to talk about, and we could probably go for hours, but we'll try and keep it somewhat tight.
Weeks, I think. Yeah.
Sam, you're a product guy. Can we start with you talking about what does it mean for your product at Cuttable?
Yeah.
How you're building it? I mean, partly it's why you started the company, but maybe a bit of the backstory and then how you're using AI in your product.
Yeah, I think... So we are building... So Cuttable is AI... We generate advertising with AI, effectively. So think of like social media, video ads for Instagram, for Meta, and we solve the problem of like creative velocity. Like the way you succeed in advertising now is to test a whole bunch of ads. To just test and experiment all the time. And then the Meta algorithm finds the ads that work. So we are built natively from... Like the company couldn't exist without generative AI.
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting to learn. I think the evolution we went through was, to start with, we hired a whole bunch of people from the advertising industry and from tech and shoved them together in a room and said, hey, let's work out how to automate what these guys do.
Yep.
And I'd say we had mixed results early because humans know how humans do it.
Yeah.
And so they can describe the human process. That's not, what we learned is that's not always the way that AI does create.
Yeah, if you're starting from scratch with AI, you do it differently.
Yeah. And so I think to start with, we thought the domain expertise in their heads was really important to get out and write down. And maybe it was with the early models, but actually what we've learned over time is that the LLMs are the domain experts.
Yeah.
Like they've been trained on
Everything.
The entire internet. They've read every book on advertising ever. They know every approach. And so then it becomes more about, hey, there's all these possible ways in which you can generate advertising, but ultimately it's like, how do you harness your AI to find the right way that delivers the outcomes that customers need?
Yeah.
So it's like, imagine there's like 100 different ways of making an ad. Actually, all that matters is that we make the ad that performs for the customer.
Yes.
So if you use the signals from Meta, hey, are the ads performing? From the customer, would I run the ad? Because it's got to be like tasteful. And then you actually you kind of back engineer from there to, okay, well, what are the approaches? The AI finds the approaches that work rather than reading the book from, the advertising agencies of the last 100 years and listening to the way they did it.
Yeah.
So it took us probably a year and a half of experimenting to work that out.
Yeah.
And I think that's a corollary for what's going on in AI. It's now you see a lot of it is about setting up the harnesses. Even with coding, it's like, don't prompt the AI to write the code, prompt the AI to tell it, like set up the harness to say, this is the outcome we want, and let the agents find the right methodology and the right approach and do the coding. So it becomes more about almost injecting that human taste of like, what does a good output or a good outcome look like? And let the AI work out the how.
Yeah.
So I think we've worked that out as the rest of the world's worked it out. Like everyone's going on this journey.
Yeah.
So it's less about kind of prompting day to day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And then I think like for team design, it becomes kind of less about upfront, maybe in the same way, less about upfront design and spec. Like it used to be with making software, you would like, your PM would sit down and specify this is what the software needs to do. And it's a whole bunch of talking internally, talking to customers, like because it was so expensive to make software, you had to kind of get it right.
Had to get it right the first time,
You'd hope anyway. And then you had Agile to kind of fix it up.
Yeah.
Whereas what we're finding is it's better to give the engineers autonomy to run with it and experiment. And like you test with customers constantly, which is kind of, I guess, like...
So less product managers then in the team, or
we have...
Or more sort of more technical product managers?
It's more that the engineers are leading in front rather than the PMs. So the PMs, I feel like it's almost like the PMs become a bit more strategic.
Yeah.
It's more like leveling up and saying, okay, what are ultimately the outcomes that customers are looking for? How can we be really clear on what our ICP is, the jobs to be done? Basically, what is the AI and the engineers, what do they need to be optimizing for?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, let them run at it and constantly experiment, push things in. Like we push things into production every hour of every day, right? And we're just constantly learning from, okay, how are people using it? Where are they getting stuck? And so the PMs become more about like wiring up the systems to get that feedback.
Yeah.
To make sure we're acting on, I guess it's like having good taste and acting on the right signals.
Yeah.
There's so many signals.
But some people might say taste is very human.
Yeah, I think it is.
Maybe not so much these days. Or at least a lot of taste can be interpreted via an LLM or via AI.
Yeah, that's true. It's almost like now we live in a world where it used to be that creating content was the hard thing. And now we can create. Content is unlimited. So you can now generate any content you want, like whether that's advertising content or marketing content or code content. You can make anything quickly. So then the limiting factor becomes, well, what is the right thing to make? When you have the space of all possibilities in front of you, how do you determine what the right thing is to do? And that's where I think taste is more impactful or like more interesting. Like
it's still a job for humans for some of it?
I think it is. I think so. I don't think AI is great at taste. It's great at like, if the humans, it's looking at the outcome, like, oh, they clicked on that ad.
Yeah.
Right. Then it can go, okay, that's the thing we're optimizing for. That's the goal. Now we can create more like that.
That's assuming humans are clicking on the ads.
But then it's like the humans are still deciding what's good in that scenario.
But when the agents start clicking on the ads, but then again, you still got to sell to an agent, so it probably doesn't matter at that point. You're just generating content that an agent likes.
How come nobody's talking about the fact, did I talk about this on another episode? How come no one's talking about the fact that the bad guys in the Matrix were called agents?
That
now
is true.
We're literally filling the world with agents.
Yeah.
Nobody's thinking that this is the thing we need to be worried about, Leigh.
Yes, that's a quite deep place to go. we can talk about how AI would kill us all, but
well,
for the sake of levity, maybe we'll come back to that in another episode. But
so what's different this time around for you? Aconex was early 2000s you started, right?
Yeah, so we
very different era.
Yeah, I mean pure SaaS. We started as waterfall development. We weren't even agile, and then we moved to an agile development environment. So then, obviously producing
waterfall.
code. Yeah,
classic edition.
Well, we made a big mistake. Classic edition. We tried to develop. Actually, BHP were a customer of ours, and they had a particular module they wanted, and we spent better part of 9 months, I reckon, building that module. And we're doing some other things. It wasn't the only thing we're doing, but that was a waterfall project, start to finish, 9 months.
Yeah.
The customer didn't see it.
Engineers probably didn't see it for the first 4 months.
Yeah, it was all, and then the customer didn't see it till sort of towards 9 months. And then they didn't really use it. So it was just a complete waste of, and so after that, we spent a lot of money on that product, and it was the wrong, thankfully it wasn't the only thing we're doing, but we could have spent that money somewhere else and developed something else. So we then moved to agile. So we're agile. But just thinking about what you were saying before about products, we had, again, you couldn't get your product wrong. So you had to, the cost of development was so high that we would spend a lot of time with customers, getting all their requirements. And so we had a product management process and a user design, user experience process where we'd go through, really understand what the customer wanted. I think that's changed. A firm where we still have product managers, but way more technical and probably spending less time. We get the feedback directly from customers. We're our own customer, which is really helpful. I mean, at Aconex, there's nobody inside Aconex that actually used Aconex, whereas at firm we have people, we have our own sales team using our product. So that's a huge advantage. But nonetheless, we want to, just with AI and with the ability to develop products so quickly, we can spin out more options. We can even, in some cases, design is now going straight through to engineering, where our lead in user experience is actually writing code using AI. So rather than just handing over designs, he's handing code over. And
especially if it's front end stuff.
It's front end. It's relatively.
It's pretty simple to just say, Claude, move this button, do this. And it'll just do it well.
Well, I think I might have told you, I even built our. We didn't have a web app, so I thought I'd spin that up and I haven't coded for 20 years, but using.
And guess what? You still haven't.
That's right. I still haven't. But I can produce something, and I can kind of, can understand what it's doing. But the other great thing about the tools is you can say to it, tell me why you've done that, and and also got better at saying, give me options. So this is what I want to do. How would you architect that?
So we onboarded a new engineer the other day, and he's taking over a feature that I built. Well, that Claude built for me, right? And I architected with Claude.
And so he said, why was it built that way?
And I remember I said to our engineering lead, hey, let me know, we'll set up some time and I can hand over to him and tell him about how it all works. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. He knows, like, he spent time with Claude. He knows how it all works already. And it just hit me. I'm like, it's so true, because it's the ultimate way to explore the code.
Yeah.
Any question you have about it.
Well, even as I was setting off in this project to build our mobile app, one of our lead engineers, basically engineering managers, rather than let me loose with no constraint, got Claude to write, a complete architectural description of what we built. And then I was able to get to map the APIs. So it had some of the APIs. I wanted to fully understand the APIs that I could use. So got to go and map the APIs. So it helped me understand the code base. And so we, basically put down the repo, got from GitHub, and then had Claude go through and explain various parts of it. Of course, then it did some things like it broke one of our APIs. So had to say, don't touch the APIs. So a few things had to put constraints around it. But I must say, I have not had that much fun doing something in years, probably. Like being able to kind of, it's like you're like a mini god. You can just say, sort of, let it be so.
It's so much
and it builds it. And it's like having an engineer beside you that no hygiene issues, will do whatever they want, whenever you want, is polite. So, and it doesn't mean we have less engineers, but it means, so we're still hiring engineering into our engineering team, but they are so productive compared to what we could do a few years ago. And it's enabled us to build a lot more product. Interestingly, though, the thing that hasn't helped us, so we're a data product, and so data feeds through everything we do, and we use AI extensively in how we build the data set. Yeah. But it's not something we can fully automate. So there's still a bit of even getting ready for the US, about a 6-month build process to get the data ready for the US. So the data. So it's still a heavy lift on data. You can't get around some of, there's a 10-person team there that's built the data set. Now maybe that would have been a 10-person or a 20-person team for years previously. It was a 10-person team for 6 months. But building product, particularly features, is so quick.
I feel like with data, I've been doing our data warehouse recently, and the thing with data, so I think you can ship it around faster maybe, but like, as in, I need to get it from here to there, write some code for it, but the ensuring correctness element is so critical that you kind of can't trust. Like, I don't find I can just trust whatever Claude has done. It's like, well, hold on, what is the data that we've moved? What is each column? What does it mean? Like, it's not something you want to vibe code. Yeah,
that's right. So I think for us, the speed is dramatic. I mean, certainly way faster to build data sets than would have been previously, but now it's not quite as much benefit as we're getting on the feature side of the product.
So one thing, I don't know if you've had this, I've found I don't know how to do this yet. I don't know if anyone's getting this right, but just the UX side of things. Like, now that it's so much faster to make code, it doesn't feel like user experience and design has made the same leaps and bounds with AI. And there are some, you got Figma AI and things like that, but it hasn't come on 100x speed improvement or 10x speed improvement you get in coding, whatever it is. So what I'm finding now is that engineers are running in front of design and PM a lot more. But so you end up with all these features, but it's very easy to end up with a whole bunch of capabilities without a really great cohesive experience.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that hasn't changed, the ability to build a product that is coherent in the way it works together, intuitive for customers. We've done a lot in terms of our front end being able to set, here's all the components, here's the parameters. We get we do design reviews now using AI, so it'll actually review against our specs. So I think that's a lot faster, but getting the right. So we part of our product is signals on the data. So you've got sales signals for when the best time to reach out to a customer is. Yeah, that's quite complex, and salespeople are not necessarily great at thinking through. Here's a list of prospects, and here's how I set up the signals agents to run across that. So we're still working through, and this is not something that AI will help us do. That's a human problem. How do you make that interface really intuitive for a person to use?
And I think AI is just not great at that.
And you can make it maybe make it better for agents to use, and maybe that's where it ends up, that the agent does the work for you to set up your own signals agents, and we're sort of going that path as well. But there'll still be salespeople that want to understand why they've set up or how they've set up their agents or how their company set up their agents to do their signals for them. So
I think it's maybe because it requires a deep understanding of the problem domain and the customer. Like, I think there's a lot of human judgment in there, and like sitting down with a human and saying like, what is the context of your day? What are all the things you're dealing with because we're competing for customers' attention.
Yeah.
They've got a million and you're trying to make things easy. So it's like actually understanding that context, and sometimes sitting there watching them use the software, and you realize it's actually, the issue isn't anything to do with your software. It's the 3 other things they've got going on.
Yeah.
And like, how do you make it fit in their world? I just think AI almost doesn't have enough of the context to be able to solve that well.
Yeah, again, the context, right? So we think context, again, being a data business, context for salespeople. So we think about the context of a salesperson uses our product.
Yeah.
But it's not just the product's context, it's also all the external data that we provide them. It's the conversational intelligence from sales calls they're sitting on and going through. And then it's all their CRM context. So this context, again, the data becomes incredibly important in seeing the right context for the product.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about product. Where else in the business are you seeing AI? I mean, clearly both our development teams have become far more productive using AI. Where else are you using it extensively within the company?
I think what's been really interesting for us is using it to explore data at scale. So, we have a warehouse of everything our customers have ever done on platform, ads they make, content they upload, like every interaction. And before, like trying to do product analytics and set up amplitude dashboards, that's all like very manual, and you have to think ahead of time what you're going to want to understand. And so what we're finding is hooking Claude up to our data warehouse, and Claude can basically SQL query anything we've ever recorded, allows anyone in the business, so our whole executive team or anyone across the business can now just start talking to Claude about, in very deep ways, how do our customers use this product? Where are they getting?
And you're encouraging the team to use, to all explore and be curious?
Yeah. So we open that up in Claude for the company.
We've done the same with Claude. Although one thing we found is that a couple of times we had several people or teams building the same things. I didn't know. So there was a little bit of, here, go and use the tools. You can all go crazy on Claude Cowork and Claude Code if you're in the engineering team, but particularly with Claude Cowork, we'd actually parallel develop some similar functionality. So,
we had some similar things.
So we had a RevOps function build something, and the SDR team build a similar thing. So we're trying to coordinate a little bit to say, you can build whatever you want, be curious, use the tools, but let us know what's happening so at least we can coordinate between various teams.
I just think like it helps you explore. It helps you, like, if you have a hypothesis about something, like it used to be, you'd have a hypothesis, but then you'd have to go to your data analyst team. They'd have to think about, well, how would we even test that? And then they'd have to put some metrics in place, roll it out, and it just take weeks. Whereas now you can literally have a hypothesis, or even better, you might not even have the hypothesis. You might say, I want to know this. What do you think the hypothesis could be? And then Claude can go and come up with its own and test it and bring it back. And we just found the most, like, we've published millions of ads from Cuttable. Having Claude go wild over our performance data to show, hey, it's actually these kinds of ads. When customers do this, that's how they get winners in Meta. That's how they find the winning ads. And they get, X% uplift on their ad performance. Having it just go wild and explore the data, it's actually finding the nuggets of insights that we're able to drive back to customers to say, this is how you make money from your ads. And like, we just could never have found it.
Yes.
Well, you need an army of analysts. So that's fascinating to me.
Because you can do it at scale.
The
other thing we're doing, of course, because our product is a sales product, a go-to-market product, we're using our own product extensively within the team. So using our own AI to help our own team find more opportunities. More signals around the accounts to try and sell into, more buying intent. So
then I've never thought about that. So your salespeople are the ultimate evangelists for your own product, and that's exactly the team in your company that you want to be.
Well, even we're building some new some deal scoring tools and other things that we'll build it for us, but then we'll roll that out to our customers. So and we haven't quite got that completely plumbed in the sense that it's as easy as we build something and flip it over the fence, but But we're almost to the point where as we can build anything for our customers, which we use ourselves, but being able to basically take anything from our go-to-market team and make it a product almost overnight. So it's, but the other thing we're finding is that there's still a challenge to get sales teams to think about how they can use the tool set. So part of our job is not just to throw more agents over the fence, because people don't know how to use agentic systems particularly well. So we've got to educate the market also. And it sounds like you're doing that a little bit with your customer base, trying to show which ads work.
Yep.
We're going to show to our sales customers, this is how you can build better signals across your accounts or your target customers. This is how you can integrate your CRM so that we can automatically, so using the agents, keep your CRM up to date. This is how we can do that enrich that bi-directional sync.
Your sales teams are using
our own
agents,
products. Yep.
And with that, are they able to almost, it sounded like you were saying this before, they're almost able to like prototype new capabilities for your product?
Yeah. And then we're using Claude, of course, alongside our own product. So Claude Co-work to generate certain things that the sales teams need. So some of their reporting, some of the deep work, some of the it's a deal related activity they're doing within the product.
So everyone in your business becomes a developer in a sense.
Yeah, in a sense. So getting our sales and product teams effectively to link up so that they can develop product and push it out to our customer. It's then the other thing we use a lot for our own reporting, of course, is just being able to, you were talking about data before and the ability for Claude to pull out incredible amounts of data. So we're doing our monthly report now. A lot of that's run on Co-work. So we're building skills. I think we can finally share them. I think that only just came out the last week or two from Claude. So people build their own skills and they have artifacts you could share a little bit. But
when you say monthly report, do you mean
like everything
financial
or financial close? So doing a lot of checking there, but also our sales reporting. So again, something we build for ourselves. That'll be something we then make available to our customers. But our sales reporting, dashboards, all of that, we're running out of Claude at the moment.
Yeah, right. So you're not using the tools in a CRM for that? Or?
No. We still use a CRM as a
source of
truth and as a data repository in a sense of what the team's doing. And so we still use HubSpot extensively. That's a part of our tool set, but we don't, the reporting we pull out of our own, we push everything to Snowflake. So we do that both for our core customer data, but also for all our internal company data. All runs through Snowflake, and then we can pull that out using various AI tools into the reports we want. So
we've literally been having this debate internally. Should we use HubSpot's CRM like sales reporting graphs, or should we be?
We still use some of it. Well, we haven't completely replaced it, but some things that are hard to pull directly out of HubSpot, we'll build that separately through the data. We've essentially got a data warehouse, if you like, of everything we're doing.
Isn't it funny that everyone's having the same internal debates because none of this stuff's been faced before?
Yeah, I think it's I'd hate to be a BI product now because I think a lot of that's the BI layer has essentially been replaced by.
We started trying to hook up Power BI to our warehouse, and then we're like, oh, this is so slow and painful. Yeah. Like you have to manually create charts, and like that's just no. I think the most fear-inducing thing you can give anyone now is an empty screen. With like an empty form that you have to fill in yourself, or
I've been back at ACAX.
You have to configure yourself.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems was getting enough reporting to our customers. We could never keep up with the reports they wanted, so we tried to put a BI layer on top of it. It was really hard to plug a BI tool into our core data at ACAX. Whereas now that'd be so much easier. So that's one of those things that has just changed the ability to report and find. Almost everybody can have their own custom report. Like you don't have to just produce a report for the entire company. You can literally say, well, I want this particular set of information that only I need that added to the report and do it in a few minutes. So
what's is there something is there something where you're just going, I don't actually know the answer? Like AI is changing everything, and the way we're working with AI now, I genuinely don't know the answer to this or how to solve this. Like I said before about the UX side of things, I'm not sure we know how to do that well yet. Were you finding something
probably
like that?
Perhaps strategy. So it's just I'll use various various parts, probably both Claude and ChatGPT to assess how we're thinking about, say, market entry.
Yeah,
it's incredibly valuable. It's like having a McKinsey analyst next to you doing a lot of the work.
Yeah,
I'm not sure it yet makes good decisions. It makes coherent decisions that seem logical. They sound great. And they sound right.
Yeah,
but it's very helpful. But I think, again, I wouldn't hand over my strategy work to to an AI, to an LLM.
Because I'll find often you'll ask it a strategy question, and it's like, always generates the next token. It's like at the start, it's decided, okay, this is the answer. And then it'll have this incredibly compelling justification for why that's the only way. Yeah. And then you go, okay, what about this? And that's like, you're right. 100, and then I'll go on this very detailed where I'm like, what I said before,
like a sycophantic analyst telling you exactly what to.
Yeah. And so it's like, what do you really believe? And I think that's it, right? Like,
I'm not sure it's actually thinking in that sense.
Yes.
It's thinking in a sense, but I don't know it's applying judgments. You just said there's not a lot of wisdom yet in the.
It's like thinking to just. It's like if you ask it a question that if it generates, the first thing it generates is a no, then it has to everything defend following the no. That is going to be defending the no. Yeah. Right.
And so then you then create a new context for it. So start up another chat or. Spin to another model or get another model to check the model you've just used.
Or do you have it defend 5 different approaches and then have another AI judge all 5 defenses to find, to critique which is best. I don't know. It's really, I agree. The strategy side of things, it feels like human judgment is still far superior. And then there's
other things like things have to be deterministic, like finance has to be right. Yeah. So we won't yet. I don't know, we'd run our final set of accounts. We'd check it and we'll use it to compare numbers, but we're still generating our accounts out of our financial system.
Same here, yeah.
So I think there's some things that you just can't afford to get them wrong.
You can't vibe.
And it's why I don't think, when people say, when you talked about the Sassacre and SaaSpocalypse, but I don't think too many people are going to vibe code their accounting system. It's just too big a risk.
I think to your point earlier, those systems end up becoming sources of truth that then other AI systems build on top of. So they have, maybe they're more limited in where they can go, but they're still part of the ecosystem.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Probably. Yeah.
And
glorified databases.
Yeah. And then, I guess the problem if you're CRM that was doing a whole lot of process, now you're just a glorified database, how long you can defend that as that product before it just moves to another database.
The value collapses. Yeah.
But and we're also using, a lot of other functions. So in hiring, marketing, every function is using AI in some way to improve their productivity. So, we'd be, we're about 100 people now. We'd be 200 or 300 if we were to produce the same output as what we're doing now. I reckon you'd have to double the size of the company pre AI.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe more. It's hard to know. It's hard to measure productivity when you can also do things you never did before. So even just writing, say, test scripts, when the engineers spun up, in a couple of hours, spun up several thousand test scripts, and would have taken, he said, would have taken me a couple of weeks before, but it's not that it would have taken, he would never have done it because it's boring. And so we're able to do things that we couldn't have done previously. So it's costing us time and effort and some tokens, but it's...
One of the things I find most fascinating about building with Claude as a coder is you say, hey, let's plan out this code change. And then it'll say, great, this is what I'm going to do. That's going to take 2 hours. That's going to take 4 hours. That's going to take 8. I reckon we'll have this all done in a day and a half. And you're like, what are you talking about? I know you're going to do this in 3 minutes. And it's because it's been trained on
people.
Humans.
Yeah. So it thinks it'll take some time.
So actually it has really no concept of time. Like it doesn't really understand time.
It just understands what it thinks it should say.
Yeah. And understands how humans talk about time. Yeah. But it doesn't, I don't think it really gets what time is.
They'll change over time.
Yeah, over time.
Pardon the pun. Yeah. But yes.
It's fascinating to me.
You're right. There's no
so
concept of time.
Like it can do the most incredible reasoning, but it's just, it can be so smart.
And so wrong.
Ways, but then be so wrong about something so simple. Yeah. Like, of course, you're not going to take a day and a half because you're Claude Code.
And if you took a day and a half and you were running the whole time, you would have consumed X $1 million of tokens. So we're not doing that.
Yeah, we'd all be out of business. Yeah. It's fascinating. Yeah. It's like getting to know a different life form, I think.
Yes. It's so hiring for AI. We want to talk a little bit about how you hire now for people in your team now that the world's fully, our businesses are fully AI, as AI native businesses. How do you find people that, has your hiring changed at all?
It has. We are we're looking for people who are, I would say, like very autonomous self-starters. I'd say more senior than previously. I just think right now you're better to get someone very curious, hungry and experienced because they have judgment and taste that comes with time.
Yeah.
And just put AI around them. There's a great YouTube talk on this that talks about engineers thinking of them as like barrels and ammunition, and like the way before AI, the way you build engineering teams is there's generally one barrel that is, directing the fire, right, essentially, and like fighting the good fight, and then you surround them with ammunition, and that's generally the more, I don't know if junior is the right word, but they might not be like driving all the decisions, but they're good coders and they get the work done.
Yeah.
Now we look for barrels, but we surround them with AI because they get 10x the firepower, 10x the ammunition. Yeah. So we're looking for, I'd say, more experienced people. I think what we found is for a while we were trying to hire people with a lot of advanced AI experience who like set up eval harnesses and worked in. And we realized there's just not that many out there because everyone's figuring it out. Yeah,
and it changes too. It
changes. And I think in Australia also there's more, I don't know, the company's maybe a bit less ambitious as a whole, especially as you look across corporate Australia.
Yes, yeah.
So finding people who have been in positions in startups where they have the chance to do things like that is just hard. Yeah. So really like we look for curiosity and experience.
Yeah, I think curiosity for us is the biggest thing. Just people who are happy to try different things, have shown a propensity to use the tool set, the new tool sets, AI tool sets in a way that, does something that they couldn't do before. Or
do you think that's true across all roles, like outside of engineering? Were you looking now more for
I think so, yeah. I mean, we wouldn't hire a marketer who hadn't used AI in some way in their work in the last few months. So, and similarly of salespeople, a little bit less so on sales, but certainly that they've tried something that they're using. And we give them all access to Claude, and some of them will use ChatGPT as well. But it's, I think it's curious. And we're finding that people can work out how to do. So it's not about age. It's also not about, it's not just young people. It can be experienced people and older people who are curious. It's just, you just don't want the person who's not going to change. And I think for developers, we've seen our most experienced developers who were probably 2 years ago a little bit skeptical of what, the various AI coding tools could do, have completely flipped. So, and so they're now using the tool set, and they're curious about how they can do more things. But there is still some coders out there, I think, that they see it as their craft, and they are not changing. So and I don't know where they sit. Maybe they sit in corporates or elsewhere. And I understand why a corporate can't just rip out 20 years of legacy code overnight. But nonetheless, that's not the sort of people we want. They'll have a place somewhere, but
the market will force them to change them.
Well, there'll be fewer and fewer companies that allow you not to use the tool set or force you not to use the tool set.
I think the one thing engineers are still a little bit afraid of admitting is that they don't actually really read the code anymore or review the code. I think for a long time it was like, I use AI, but I check it all.
Yeah, but you couldn't possibly read it as fast as it's producing it. So
I feel like everyone's still a little bit like, they're not quite wanting to say, I don't really check the code anymore.
Yeah, but then you set up code review, like AI code reviews, which we're starting to do now. We still, interesting when I mentioned the mobile app, so we still had that go through the engineering team just to check it. So I'm not going to just deploy that out as much as Claude Code may have done a great job. I'm just going to be a little bit cautious given I'm sitting over the top of it.
Did Code tell you you're a great coder?
I didn't ask it. I was too nervous to ask it that question, but
I bet it did.
It probably would have.
If you asked.
If I asked it, tell me I was okay, I'm sure. So.
Leigh, you're probably the best coder I've ever seen.
I think I would have said you still got some things to learn. But, so one other thing, we see a lot of pictures through Glitch of companies. So what are we looking for? What stands out? What do we fear when somebody pitches us on AI now?
I think the hardest thing to try to work out now is what is defensible in a company.
Yeah.
Like what is true defensibility when software is cheap and free? Like you can certainly follow the rational logical argument that means if your only differentiator is some features and capability and how fast you move, then you have no differentiation. But then we do see a lot of companies that you succeed by being first. and moving fast and moving
Yeah, and
faster
some
than
of the
everyone
most
else.
successful AI companies in the world may not be defensible, but they've moved bloody fast.
And I think some of that's brand, to be honest. Like, you get the brand first and everyone attaches to you. I guess the open question is, okay, but 3 or 4 years down the track,
Is that defensible?
If a new startup comes in and now they're moving faster than you, is that defensible?
It's funny, some of the things that we would have avoided in the past, like hardware-related businesses. Now hardware's, in a world where software is cheap, hardware becomes more of a defensibility.
Looks more interesting,
Yeah, network effects. I mean, we always look for network effects, and that's still, if you can build a business with network effects, you've got some defensibility. Data, and of course, this is a big thing for Firmable, that we've got a proprietary data set and derived data that we've built. So it's hard, an LLM can't produce that data. So being able to look for companies that have a proprietary data.
And also, not only can LLMs not produce the data, but also if you collect it, you can arguably sell that data to the LLM providers. And you see a fair bit of that
obviously for us,
we're
about to release an MCP server where you can access the data through Claude
Does that worry you though? Do you like, they can?
Well, not really, because the data changes. So there's deltas in the data. If it was static, that would be perhaps more of a concern, but the data's always changing. And we've got data sets that you can't get anywhere else, that we're taking and repurposing data from one application into a sales application. So it's data that hasn't existed before. I think the LLMs are not, they're not, that data they don't have access to, and they're not trying to get it. I think there's so much money to be made for, the frontier models are going to make so much money out of process. I think data's less of a focus for them now than it may have been a year or two ago, where I think investors thought data was perhaps going to be swamped by the LLMs. I think rather now people are seeing that proprietary data is not something the LLMs are going after.
And I think the other one's probably compliance, governance, anywhere where software companies have built in industries that it's just really hard to
like financial services and both know where Wallex well and companies like that. So where we've got regulation, where you've got to tap into various systems and regulatory authorities, that's quite hard.
Probably also, do you think, like, where they go into enterprises and enterprises implement their system and rely on it? It's just, it can be a 1 or 2 year sales cycle often, but once you're in there, they're reliant on you. It's very hard for an enterprise to rip out the software provider.
I think it's
part of their workflow.
Yeah, I agree that. I think the one thing, I think systems of record are probably overstated in the sense that if all you are is a system of record, well, eventually, if I'm doing all my work somewhere else and I'm pushing data to my system of record, eventually I don't need my system of record. So I'd be worried if we were looking at a company that said, well, I'm going to be the system of record for insert industry A or B. But if you're deeply embedded within a company, a corporate, enterprise, government, etc., it's pretty hard to move that out. But we'll see. I mean, I think it's. I certainly prefer being in the founder operator seat at the moment. Being an investor, I think, is harder.
It's really hard, and also there's just so many of the things that we said, hey, you never do in software investing for the last 15 years. Like, don't touch services, don't touch anything.
Don't touch surges, don't touch hardware, and all of a sudden those look more interesting.
Now they're the ones that are actually a bit harder for AI to displace.
Defense was another one, and defense tech, of course, looking really good. So,
that's right. It's a crazy time to be an investor.
Great. Well, good to talk AI. We'll be back with another AI session probably in a month or two when everything completely changes.
Every week with you, Leigh. This is
so
fun.
Much changing. It's great to learn from what you're doing, and obviously we talk about it a lot.
We could just come and complain about all our issues with building AI companies.
And you get to watch us doing all that. So hopefully you're learning from it as well. And again, thanks for following Imperfect Company. Please follow us on socials, share us with other founders, and if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to send them through to us.
100%. Awesome.
Thanks, Sam.
Cheers.
Great chat. Cheers.
Thanks.